So let's look at how to add NSX Edge into a NSXT manager, right? So uh, you have to go back to the System tab. In System tab, go to the Nodes under the Fabric, and there will be an option to add Edge Transport node. So NSX Edge is basically like your border leaf in a EVPN, BGP, VXLAN fabric or an ACI fabric, which allows the external connectivity to and from the fabric, right? So NSX has the same uh, um, functionality where it allows the traffic to come inside the fabric and allow the traffic to go outside the fabric, right? So here you have an option to add the edge. Now just give it a name like edge, for an example, hyphen NSX, or any, you can give any name, and I have the DNS entry for this. So it's basically 02.lab.local for me, and I have selected the medium, and just make your reservation as 0, so that it's lab environment and I don't want it to basically reserve for gig of memory. I need to give the credential in the next step, and your username and password. And same for the root account also. Just give the credential, and since the lab environment just enabling SSH, I just want to make sure that okay. So now you need to select the compute manager, right? So for us, the compute manager, when we added, it was vCenter. So I selected vCenter, and I have two clusters, one for my compute and one for management, right? So this is an edge. So when you deploy the edge, you basically deploy it in a non-NSX node, right? You don't need a NVDS or something in that. The normal distribution switch, and you just add the edge into that host, right? And you select the data store, click next, and this is where you basically assign your management IP address. So for me, it's 192.168.168.151/24, and then you assign the default gateway and select the interface. So I have the VM, the standard switch for this. I'm not using a distributed switch for the management interface, and it's the, but yeah, you have an option to use any port group that you want. So I have a local DNS in my lab, and I will use a public NTP server for this. Yeah. So here, basically, you have to select the transport zone, right? So in an NSX Edge environment, you need both the transport zones. Uh, the overlay is basically for your communication from the NSX Edge host to the other host. So it will be basically through the overlay, the GNU tunnel. But whatever is like your uplink connectivity to your external router, you'll form a BGP neighborship. For that, you need a VLAN tagging, right? So that will be basically with the help of VLAN transport zone, and you can just use a single link, the default option I'm using here, right? And the NSX node VTUP IP should be different from your the other nodes VTUP IP, right? That's the recommendation. But again, it's a lab environment, so I'm using the same one. There's no problem in using the same one for the lab. It still works, but of course, in production, it's not recommended. 68.8.1, and this is my subnet mask. And I need to select the uplink interface, right? For the uplink interface, I have a distributed switch and I have a production port group that I will be selecting for this purpose. You click finish and it will take a couple of minutes, but you can see in the vCenter that the edge that we created is creating here. So if you see the logs, you will be able to see that this VM is getting created. So we'll just pause the video, and once it is deployed, I will again resume.